Be prepared. This isn't just a new moon, it's a reset. A portal has opened, and silently, invisibly, but it's shifting everything beneath the surface. The Gemini New Moon isn't waiting for you to notice. It's already rewriting the rules of your reality. While the world scrambles to keep pace, something deeper is calling you to step through, to release what's been pulling you down, to embrace the frequency you were always meant to live in. This isn't about manifesting a wish list. It's about aligning with the version of you that no longer chases, the version that receives, that trusts, that recognizes when the universe whispers, "Now is the moment to reset everything." The question is, will you step through, or will you stay trapped in an outdated loop? Because the portal is open, and it's waiting for you to decide. The air feels different, doesn't it? A subtle shift in the way the world breathes. It's not something you can see, not something that announces itself with flashing lights, but if you're paying attention, you can feel it. The Gemini New Moon isn't just a reset on the calendar, it's a portal. A thin veil between the dimensions, a gateway through which your energy, your frequency, is being invited to shift. And while the world moves forward as if nothing's happening, those attuned to the energy can sense the pull. Have you felt it? That quiet but undeniable sense that something deeper is stirring? That your thoughts, your feelings, your connections are being gently but firmly realigned? This isn't random. This is the Gemini New Moon working its subtle magic. Not to overwhelm you, but to invite you. To clear the mental clutter. To release the old stories. To open space for a version of you that's ready to live in higher alignment. You might feel it as restlessness, as moments of mental fog or clarity that seems just out of reach, as sudden insights that arrive and leave just as quickly. It's not confusion, it's recalibration. Because this new moon isn't just a point in the sky. It's a point in your timeline, a pivot, a threshold, a decision point where you can either keep looping in the patterns that no longer fit, or you can release them and step into something more aligned. Have you been noticing the invitations? The strange conversations, the signs, the moments of synchronicity that seem too perfect to ignore? The whispers that something needs to change, not from a place of fear, but from a place of readiness? This isn't a cosmic accident. It's a carefully timed opening, a reset of your 5D reality, not the world you see with your eyes, but the deeper energetic reality you're here to embody. A reality where alignment matters more than hustle, where clarity emerges from silence, where your soul leads and your mind follows. But here's the challenge. Most people will miss it. They'll stay distracted by the noise, the endless scrolling, the reactive patterns that keep them tethered to the old. They'll hear the whispers, but ignore them. They'll feel the pull, but resist it. Will you? This is the portal's silent question. Are you willing to let go of the distractions that keep you looping in 3D? Are you ready to clear the mental and emotional clutter that blocks the flow of your true energy? Because this Gemini New Moon isn't asking you to manifest a list of desires. It's asking you to reset the channel, to open the space for clarity, truth, and connection with yourself, with your purpose, with the field of energy that's always been waiting for you to return. This isn't about dramatic rituals or external signs. It's about the quiet decision to step into alignment, to clear the path, to stop chasing and start allowing. And if you're feeling that pull, that quiet, persistent invitation to let go of what no longer fits, trust it. That's the Gemini New Moon speaking to you, through you, not with words, but with energy. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that no longer serves my highest alignment? Am I willing to release it? Not because I have to, but because I'm ready? The portal is open, the reset is here, and the choice, as always, is yours. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange sensation like the ground beneath you isn't quite stable, like something unseen is tugging at your energy field. This isn't your imagination. It's the subtle shift of your 5D reality already in motion. Most people think shifts like these happen in a moment. A big sign, a flash of insight, a life-altering event. But the truth is, the shift starts quietly. In the little moments when your old habits feel heavier than they used to. In the conversations that suddenly feel misaligned, in the random urge to pull back, to go quiet, to reconsider everything. Have you noticed it? That sense that your reactions aren't landing the same way? That the plans you made last month feel irrelevant today? That people, situations, even environments that once felt familiar now feel foreign? This is the Gemini New Moon's subtle magic at work. It's not pushing you, it's releasing you, gently nudging you away from frequencies that no longer serve your highest alignment, and pulling you toward the version of yourself that's been waiting, patient and steady, for you to remember. But here's where it gets tricky. The shift doesn't always feel graceful. Sometimes it feels like restlessness, confusion, even loss. You might find yourself waking up with a heavy heart for no clear reason, or feeling disconnected from conversations that used to energize you. You might notice yourself craving space, silence, solitude, not because you're isolating, but because your system is recalibrating. Have you felt this pull? That quiet, persistent desire to step back from the noise and listen to something deeper? It's not a withdrawal, it's a return to your own energy, your own truth, your own alignment. And here's the most important part. These subtle shifts aren't random or isolated. They're signs, clues that your 5D self is already moving into place. That the reality you've been seeking is already whispering at the edges of your awareness. The people who no longer fit, they're not being taken away. They're being released. The plans that feel heavy or forced, they're not failures, and they're redirects. The mental fog, the emotional swings, the physical exhaustion. They're not breakdowns, they're realignments. But only if you're paying attention, only if you're willing to look past the surface and see what's really happening. Ask yourself, what old version of myself am I still clinging to out of habit or fear? Am I ready to trust the subtle pull toward my next evolution, even if I don't have all the answers yet? Because the Gemini New Moon portal isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for presence, for the willingness to feel, to notice, to honor what's shifting, to let go of the stories that kept you tethered to the familiar, to step, however hesitantly, into the unknown, where your 5D reality waits. This isn't about escaping the present, it's about anchoring into the frequency where your soul's truth becomes louder than the world's distractions, where you stop chasing clarity and start living it. And that shift, it's already happening. Whether you resist it or ride it, the portal is open, The reset is in motion. The choice is yours. How this new moon is resetting your spiritual timeline. It's easy to think of a new moon as a blank slate, a fresh start. But this Gemini new moon isn't a simple reset. It's a reordering, a profound, often uncomfortable restructuring of your spiritual timeline. Have you felt the disruptions? Plans falling apart, connections dissolving, unexpected delays, or sudden bursts of clarity? That's not chaos. That's the portal opening and saying, you can't carry the old into the new. This isn't about wiping the slate clean. It's about acknowledging what's written there. The Gemini new moon is showing you where your past timelines no longer align with your present truth. It's revealing the threads of old patterns, outdated beliefs, and energetic attachments that have quietly shaped your path, and offering you a chance to release them. But this isn't a passive process. It demands your presence, your willingness to see what you've been avoiding, the conversations you've postponed, the decisions you've delayed, the feelings you've buried under layers of distraction. Have you noticed a quiet pull toward these unfinished threads? A subtle but persistent sense that something needs closure, even if you're not sure how? That's your timeline recalibrating. Because what you don't close consciously will close itself, and not always gently. The Gemini new moon isn't waiting for your permission. It's already moving the pieces. People, plans, ideas, shifting, dissolving, reforming in ways that might feel disorienting, but are ultimately freeing. You're not losing control. You're being invited to surrender it, to trust that the timeline realigning around you is doing so for your highest good, even if it feels messy in the moment. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to because I'm afraid of what happens if I let go? What part of my identity is tied to an outdated version of me that no longer fits? This isn't a test of strength. It's a test of alignment, of your willingness to step into the frequency of your 5D self, the version of you that no longer clings to what's familiar simply because it feels safe. And here's where it gets interesting. The timeline isn't just shifting externally, it's shifting within you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your choices, they're all recalibrating to match a new frequency. One where alignment isn't something you strive for, it's something you are. But that shift can feel like dissonance. You might wake up feeling like a different version of yourself, unsure how to move through the day. You might feel both clear and confused, motivated and exhausted, inspired and overwhelmed, all in the same breath. That's not failure. That's transition. That's the old timeline dissolving while the new one builds itself beneath your feet. And in that space between what was and what's becoming, there's a rare kind of magic. A pause where you can choose to stop resisting and start flowing. To stop asking, when will it all make sense? And start trusting that the sense will come in its own time. This isn't about rushing into the next phase. It's about holding space for it to unfold. About trusting that the reset isn't just an erasure. It's a reweaving of threads that bring you closer to your soul's true path. So as this Gemini new moon portal expands, ask yourself, am I willing to let go of the timeline I thought I needed, so the one meant for me can finally arrive? The portal is open. The reset is in motion. Your spiritual timeline is rewriting itself, whether you choose to fight it or flow with it. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the quiet invitation beneath the noise. Let it unfold. Your soul already knows the way. It's easy to think of this shift as something external, something happening out there, in the sky, in the alignments, in the energies we can't quite name. But what if I told you that the shift isn't happening outside you at all? It's happening through you. The Gemini New Moon portal isn't pulling you into a new reality. It's drawing out the version of you that already lives there. That's why it feels so disorienting. It's not about leaving the old behind. It's about revealing the threads of connection that have always been there, waiting for you to notice. Have you felt it? That quiet resonance in moments of stillness, when the noise fades and something deeper stirs? That sense of being both here and somewhere else at the same time? That's not imagination. That's the energy of alignment making itself known. The invisible threads that connect you to your 5D reality aren't new. They're ancient, subtle, woven through lifetimes, through soul contracts, through whispers and dreams you thought were forgotten. And now, as the new moon portal opens, those threads are tightening. Not to bind you, but to guide you, to pull you gently but insistently into the frequency where your soul has been calling you all along. But here's the challenge. Those threads don't always feel like guidance. Sometimes they feel like tension, like a tug of war between what you thought you wanted and what your soul is actually ready for. Like an inexplicable resistance to what once felt easy, like a sudden loss of interest in things you once craved. Have you been noticing that pull, the feeling of being on the verge of something but not quite able to name it? The sensation that something familiar is dissolving while something unknown is rising in its place? That's not confusion. That's the recalibration of your energetic threads. The strands of connection that are no longer resonating are falling away. The ones that align with your next level are pulling you in, and yes, it can feel uncomfortable. You might feel like you're being unraveled, but you're not falling apart. You're being rethreaded, woven into a new tapestry of reality where your soul's truth becomes the guiding thread. This isn't about finding clarity in the mind. It's about trusting the pull in the soul, about letting the threads guide you, even when the path ahead looks unfamiliar or uncertain. Ask yourself, what connections am I holding on to out of habit, not alignment? What if the thread pulling me away from the familiar is actually leading me home? Because here's the secret. The threads that connect you to your next level aren't loud. They don't shout or demand attention. They whisper. They tug softly at your energy, inviting you to follow the pull, to trust the shift, to surrender the need to control. And as the Gemini New Moon portal expands, those threads will tighten, guiding you more insistently toward the version of you that's ready to step through. Not with a crash, but with a quiet decision to release what no longer resonates, to honor the connections that uplift you and gently let go of those that drain you. Because in the end, the shift isn't about the stars, the moon, or the planets. It's about you. Your willingness to trust the invisible threads that have always been there, waiting for you to see them, to feel them, to follow them. The portal is open, the shift is underway, and the threads are waiting for your choice. Will you pull them tighter, or let them fray into the old timeline? There's a moment in every shift when the pull becomes too strong to ignore. When the old feels heavy, the familiar feels restrictive, and the new, even if uncertain, feels inevitable. That moment is now. The Gemini New Moon isn't just inviting you to observe the shift, it's asking you to anchor into the new frequency, to stop waiting for the right sign, the perfect moment, the external confirmation, and start living as if you've already stepped through the portal. Have you been waiting for clarity before taking the next step? For validation that it's safe to release the old and embrace the unknown? Here's the truth: the shift doesn't wait for permission. It unfolds the moment you say yes to it, internally, energetically. That yes isn't loud, it's not dramatic, it's a quiet decision. A breath where you stop resisting and start allowing. But anchoring isn't about forcing or sadding. It's not about leaping without looking. It's about aligning your energy with the new frequency so deeply that the external world naturally starts to match it. Have you noticed moments lately where things seem to flow effortlessly? A conversation that clicks, a message that arrives at the perfect time, an insight that feels like a puzzle piece snapping into place. That's not luck, that's alignment. That's you catching glimpses of what it feels like to live from the new frequency, where things don't just happen, they resonate. But here's where many get stuck. They think anchoring means waiting for everything to feel easy, clear, perfect. They think the shift will arrive fully formed with a map and clear instructions. It won't. The shift arrives like a whisper, like a sudden knowing that it's time to stop repeating the old story, like a quiet courage to say, "I'm ready," even if the next step isn't visible yet. Ask yourself, what would I do today if I trusted that I'm already aligned with my highest path? What small, intentional choice can I make to embody the energy of my future self right now? This is anchoring. It's not about waiting, it's about becoming, about stepping into the frequency of your next chapter and letting the universe rearrange itself to meet you there. You might feel resistance, that's normal. The old frequency will tug at you, whispering doubts, tempting you with comfort, but that pull isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're standing at the threshold, that the portal is right there, waiting for your step through. So breathe, pause, feel the resistance, and then feel beyond it, into the spaciousness of possibility, into the alignment that doesn't demand proof, but invites trust. This is where the real shift happens, not when the world changes around you, but when you change your stance within it, when you stop chasing alignment and start living from it. Because the Gemini New Moon isn't just a portal for new beginnings, it's a mirror reflecting the version of you that's already whole, already aligned, already ready. You just have to decide to meet that version now. The portal is open, the frequency is rising, and the choice is yours. Will you wait for the shift, or will you become it? As the portal of the Gemini New Moon begins to close, you might feel a quiet pressure in the air. Not loud, not dramatic, but insistent. It's a gentle reminder that this isn't a moment to sleep through. It's a call to decide, to choose, to align. Because the shift isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's already unfolding. The question is whether you're moving with it or against it. Have you noticed how the energy feels heavier when you resist? When you cling to old patterns, conversations, and stories that no longer resonate? That's not coincidence. That's your soul's way of showing you what's out of alignment. And here's where the choice becomes clear. Will you stay where it feels familiar, even if it no longer fits? Or will you step into the unknown, where clarity isn't immediate, but authenticity is inevitable? This new moon isn't asking you to make a perfect plan. It's asking you to trust the pull, to notice the subtle nudges, the strange coincidences, the conversations that feel more important than they should. They're not random. They're threads pulling you toward your next chapter. But here's the paradox. The portal doesn't close with a bang. It closes with a whisper, a quiet fade out that feels so natural you might miss it if you're not paying attention. Have you ever looked back and realized the biggest shifts in your life didn't happen in loud, dramatic moments? They happened in the small decisions, the quiet choices, the subtle moments when you said yes to something deeper and no to the distractions. That's what this Gemini New Moon is offering. A chance to say yes to your 5D reality, even if you don't fully understand what that means yet, to trust that the version of you ready to emerge is already rising, already calling you forward, already waiting for your permission to take the lead. Ask yourself, what am I afraid to release because I don't know what will replace it? Am I willing to trust that what's coming is more aligned than what I'm leaving behind? Because the truth is, this portal doesn't just reset the outer circumstances of your life. It rewrites the inner architecture of your energy. It's a reweaving of the unseen threads, a reordering of your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. And when the portal closes, it won't slam shut. It will dissolve softly, like mist, leaving you with a choice: to carry the shift forward into your daily life, or to fall back into the old loops. The universe isn't testing you. It's inviting you, not to prove anything, but to remember something. To remember that you were never waiting for permission from the stars, the moon, or the planets. You were waiting for permission from yourself. And now, as the final moments of this portal unfold, the question lingers in the air. Will you choose the path your soul has been whispering all along? The portal is open, the energy is shifting, and your next step is waiting, not out there, but within.